The massive chamber fell silent as Ambassador Trell entered. His gray skin seemed to absorb the light around him, and his three eyes blinked in sequence as he surveyed the gathered officials of the galactic hegemony. No Seltari had been seen at a council meeting in over 200 years. Admiral Vos Kazin straightened his ceremonial collar and nodded to the ancient alien. The council recognizes Ambassador Trell of the Seltari Collective. Your presence honors us. Trell did not waste time with pleasantries. I come with a warning that must be heeded. His translator device gave his words a flat, metallic quality. Your exploration vessels approach the Sol system. You must alter course immediately. Whispers spread through the chamber. The Sol system had only recently appeared on hegemony scans as a potential site for expansion. Explain yourself, Ambassador, said Kazin, his 6 fingers drumming on the polished table. That system shows significant resource potential. Trell's middle eye narrowed. The third planet, the one with abundant water, harbors a species unlike any you have encountered. They call themselves humans. Their planet is a trap. Avoid at all costs. Laughter rippled through the council chamber. The hegemony had peacefully or forcefully incorporated 247 species into its empire over 12 millennia. What could one primitive world offer that would concern them? With respect, Ambassador, said Chief Scientist Lore, her tentacles waving dismissively, our scans show only primitive technology. They have barely reached their own moon. It is not their technology that concerns us, Trell replied. It is their nature. Kazin leaned forward. Despite the Seltari's known tendency for excessive caution, he was curious. Elaborate. They adapt too quickly. They solve problems in ways that defy prediction. Where most species follow logical evolutionary paths, these humans make conceptual leaps that... Trell paused, searching for words. That should not be possible. The council members exchanged glances. The Seltari were one of the oldest races in the galaxy, and though they rarely involved themselves in hegemony politics, their knowledge was vast. You speak in riddles, Ambassador, said Kazin. If these humans are so dangerous, why have they not expanded beyond their world? We have contained them, Trell said simply, for their safety and ours. This revelation caused an uproar. The idea that the reclusive Seltari had been secretly monitoring a species was unprecedented. Kazin raised a hand for silence. You expect us to avoid a potentially valuable system based on vague warnings? I expect you to heed the caution of those who have witnessed what humans can become, Trell replied. The Seltari first encountered them when they were still using stone tools. Even then we recognized the danger. Danger? Scoffed Defense Minister Grax. From stone tools to primitive rockets in a few thousand years is not unusual. Many species develop faster. It is not the speed but the pattern, Trell insisted. They do not progress linearly. They stagnate, then leap forward explosively. They fight among themselves constantly, yet unite against outside threats with remarkable efficiency. Kazin waved his hand dismissively. The Council thanks you for your warning, Ambassador. We will take it under advisement. Trell's 3 eyes blinked simultaneously, a sign of extreme distress in Seltari body language. You mistake my purpose. This is not advice. This is a final warning. With that, the ambassador turned and left the chamber, his dark robe swirling behind him. After a moment of silence, Kazin turned to his advisors. Prepare the contact protocols. I want a ship dispatched to this Earth immediately. Sir, said Chief Scientist Lore, perhaps we should consider... The Seltari have hidden away in their systems for centuries, Kazin interrupted. Their caution has become paranoia. Besides, think of the military applications if these humans are truly as adaptable as claimed. Captain William Harris looked out the viewport of the Pathfinder, Earth's first true interstellar vessel. Although it could only reach a fraction of light speed, it represented humanity's greatest achievement. Captain, I'm detecting something unusual, said Dr. Olivia Martinez, looking up from her console. Her dark eyes reflected the blue glow of the screen. There's an energy signature I can't identify, about 500,000 kilometers out. Harris frowned. Could it be a malfunction in the new sensors? I've run 3 diagnostics, Martinez replied. Whatever it is, it's real, and it's massive. Chief Engineer Peter Collins joined them, his weathered face concerned. The energy output. Readings are off the charts, Captain. Nothing on Earth could generate that kind of power. Harris tapped his communication panel. Harris to Mission Control. Are you seeing this? The reply came back fragmented. Confirming. Unknown object. Approaching Earth orbit. Suddenly, the ship's alerts blared. On the main screen, space itself seemed to fold, and an enormous vessel emerged. It was sleek and silver, at least 2 kilometers long, with strange geometric patterns across its hull. My God, whispered Martinez. We're not alone. Harris stared at the alien ship, his mind racing. Humanity had debated the existence of intelligent, alien life for centuries, and now the question was answered in the most dramatic way possible. All hands to stations, he ordered, his voice steady despite his racing heart. Dr. Martinez, record everything. Collins, power up all systems, but keep weapons offline. We don't want to appear hostile. Captain, Martinez said, her voice tense. They're broadcasting something on multiple frequencies. I think it's a greeting. Around the world, every communication device simultaneously received the same message, translated into each local language. People of Earth, we are representatives of the Galactic Hegemony, a peaceful coalition of civilized worlds. We come to welcome you into our community of species. In Geneva, UN Secretary-General Lisa Wright stared at the screen in shock as reports flooded in from every nation. The alien vessel had deployed smaller craft that now hovered over major cities worldwide. Back on the Pathfinder, Harris received new orders. Return to Earth immediately to join the hastily assembled First Contact team. As they turned the ship around, Martinez approached him privately. Captain, something doesn't feel right. Why would an advanced civilization just appear without any prior communication? They must have been watching us. Harris nodded slowly. I had the same thought. They're being too friendly too fast. And that ship, Martinez continued. The technology gap between us it's not just a few hundred years, it might be thousands. Keep your observations to yourself for now, Doctor, Harris said quietly. But keep observing. Something tells me we're going to need every bit of information we can get. As the Pathfinder headed back to Earth, more hegemony ships emerged from faster-than-light travel, taking positions around the planet. Within hours, Earth was effectively surrounded. Admiral Kazin watched the blue planet from his command chair and smiled. Such a beautiful world. And if the Celtari are correct about these humans, potentially the most valuable species we've ever discovered. His aide looked nervous. Sir, should we perhaps proceed with more caution? The Celtari rarely involve themselves in our affairs, which is precisely why we should ignore them, Kazin replied. By the time they realize we've made contact, these humans will already be loyal subjects of the hegemony. After all, what can one primitive species possibly do against the might of our empire? The aide nodded, but couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something important. Outside the viewport, Earth continued its peaceful rotation, appearing harmless and vulnerable. Little did the hegemony know that they had just sprung the trap they had been warned about. The United Nations building in Geneva had never seen such a gathering. World leaders sat shoulder to shoulder in the emergency session as the alien delegation prepared to enter. Captain William Harris stood near the back wall, uncomfortable in his formal uniform. Dr. Olivia Martinez waited beside him, her tablet ready to record everything. They're coming, Martinez whispered. The doors swung open. Admiral Kazin led the hegemony representatives, flanked by guards in sleek armor. The aliens varied in appearance. Some had multiple limbs, others skin in impossible colors. A few moved on what looked like floating discs. UN Secretary-General Lisa Wright stepped forward. On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth. Admiral Kazin bowed slightly. The galactic hegemony extends greetings to your species. I am Admiral Vos Kazin, and this is First Contact Specialist Mira Lauren. Mira Lauren stepped forward. She appeared almost human except for her golden skin and large, entirely black eyes. I am pleased to meet the representatives of Earth. We have much to discuss. As translators worked to bridge the language gap, General Frank Garrison of the Earth Defense Force leaned toward Harris. What do you make of them, Captain? Harris kept his voice low. They're too comfortable. They act like they've done this 100 times before. Perhaps they have, said Martinez, not looking up from her tablet. The way they positioned their ships, they knew exactly where our military bases are. The formal introductions continued for an hour. The aliens were polite, but spoke with the casual confidence of adults addressing children. Later, in a smaller meeting room, Admiral Kazin presented the hegemony's offer. Earth will receive protected status within our empire, he explained. We will share certain technologies, establish trade, and guide your development. Secretary General Wright frowned. And what does the hegemony expect in return? Only reasonable access to some of your natural resources, Kazin said smoothly. And permission to establish a few small bases to ensure your protection. Martinez noticed how the alien's 6 fingers tapped rhythmically when he mentioned resources. A nervous tell? General Garrison leaned forward. Protection from what, exactly? The galaxy can be dangerous, Mira Loren replied. Many species are not as benevolent as the hegemony. After the main meeting, Kazin requested a private discussion with General Garrison. Harris was asked to attend as Earth's Space Fleet representative. When the doors closed, Kazin's manner changed completely. Now we can speak plainly, he said. Your military capabilities are primitive, but show promise. We see potential in your species. Potential for what? Garrison asked. For service, Kazin replied. Humans appear physically adaptable, and your history suggests you excel at warfare. The hegemony always has use for good soldiers. Harris felt his face grow hot with anger, but he kept his expression neutral. I thought the hegemony was about peace, he said. Kazin made a sound that might have been laughter. Peace through strength, Captain. The resources we require from Earth are merely our first interest. Your people themselves may become our most valuable export. After the meeting, Harris found Martinez waiting in the hallway. We need to talk, she said, pulling him into an empty office. She held up a small device. I built this last night. It detects foreign tech. The building is filled with tiny monitoring devices. They're watching everything. Harris looked at the ceiling corners instinctively. Can they hear us now? Not through this, Martinez said, holding up another small box. It creates interference, but it won't last long. They're not here as friends, Harris said. Martinez nodded. And there's something else. I got a blood sample from when Mira Loren touched a glass. They look humanoid, but their cellular structure is totally different. There's no evolutionary reason why an alien should look so similar to us unless they're trying to appear familiar and non-threatening, Harris finished. Exactly. But here's the strange part. When I compared their biology to ours, I found something unexpected. Our neural pathways are significantly more complex. Our brains make connections their species can't. What does that mean? I don't know yet, Martinez admitted, but they're not being honest about why they're here. The device in her hand beeped softly. We need to go. The interference won't hold much longer. The next day, Earth's representatives witnessed a demonstration of hegemony power. A small scout ship easily disabled a military satellite, then restored it to function moments later. A small example of our technology, Admiral Kazin explained. We could shut down every weapon on your planet within minutes if needed. Secretary General Wright kept her voice steady. I thought you came in peace. Peace is easier when there is clear understanding between parties, Kazin replied. That evening, Harris found a message on his secure line. It was from Peter Collins, still aboard the Pathfinder. Captain, they've been scanning our ship nonstop. When I questioned their team, they said it was standard procedure. But they're paying special attention to our navigation systems and weapons. Basic as they are, something doesn't add up. Later, Harris met with Martinez in a park they hoped would be free of alien surveillance. "I've been reviewing historical data," Martinez said as they walked. "Every major human advancement came after periods of conflict or hardship. We solve problems under pressure better than any species in recorded history." "You think that's what the Celtari meant when they warned the hegemony?" "Maybe. Look at how quickly we went from the first airplane to landing on the moon. Just 66 years. Most species take centuries to make similar leaps." Harris watched as two hegemony ships moved across the sky, now a common sight above Earth's major cities. "We need to find out more about their plans," he said. Martinez nodded. "I've been invited to their research vessel tomorrow to exchange scientific knowledge. I'll see what I can learn, but Harris, we need to be careful. If they realize we're suspicious..." "I know. For now, we play along." Harris looked up at the alien ships again. "But we also need to prepare. Something tells me we don't have much time." In orbit above them, Admiral Kazin reviewed the initial reports on human psychology and biology. "Fascinating," he said to Mira Lauren. "They are paradoxically docile, yet unpredictable. Their history is filled with violence. Yet they welcomed us with open arms." "They had little choice," Lauren replied. "Our technology far exceeds theirs." "Begin the next phase," Kazin ordered. "Establish the first resource extraction base in their Arctic region. Let's see how they respond to our permanent presence." "And if they resist?" Kazin's mouth formed what passed for a smile in his species. "They won't. By the time they realize what's happening, it will be too late. Earth is now part of the hegemony, whether they understand that yet or not." But down on the planet's surface, the first seeds of resistance were already taking root as humans began to wonder what these aliens really wanted, and what price Earth would ultimately pay for its new place in the galaxy. 1 year had passed since the hegemony ships first appeared in Earth's skies. Now, massive orbital stations hung above every major city, their shadows crossing the land below like giant hands. Dr. Olivia Martinez stared through her microscope in the Joint Research Facility. The hegemony had established these labs to share knowledge, but humans were rarely allowed to see the most advanced alien technology. "Fascinating work, Dr. Martinez," said Kelty, the hegemony science officer, assigned to supervise her. Kelty had green-tinged skin and 4 arms, each ending in delicate fingers perfect for laboratory work. "Your understanding of our cellular mapping techniques has progressed remarkably fast." Martinez smiled politely. "Thank you. I've always been a quick learner." What she didn't mention was that she had already improved upon the alien technique, making discoveries she kept hidden in an encrypted section of her personal tablet. "Governor Drac wishes to see your progress report today," Kelty said. "He seems particularly interested in your work on neural pathways." Martinez nodded, her heart beating faster. Governor Drac had been appointed as Earth's overseer 6 months ago. His interest in her research could mean he suspected something. Across the city, Captain William Harris, now stripped of his rank by the hegemony's reorganization of Earth's military, met with Chief Engineer Eric Johnson in the basement of an abandoned building. "Did you get the components?" Harris asked. Johnson nodded and opened his bag to reveal several small devices. "Stole them from the shipyard. They're power couplings for their shuttle engines." "Can you make them work with our systems?" "Already done," Johnson said with a grim smile. 3 months ago, I couldn't even understand how their power grid worked. Now I'm rebuilding their tech from memory." Harris looked around at the makeshift resistance headquarters. 20 people worked at salvaged computers and modified equipment. What had started as a small group of suspicious military personnel had grown into a global underground network. "Any word from Dr. Martinez?" Johnson asked. "She'll be here tonight," Harris replied. "She says she's made a breakthrough." Later that evening, Martinez slipped away from her apartment, carefully avoiding the hegemony patrol drones. The aliens had established a curfew for humans, claiming it was for their safety. When she arrived at the resistance base, Harris noticed she looked tired but excited. "I know why they want us," she said without preamble, connecting her tablet to the group's main computer. "Look at these scans. The screen showed two brain images side by side. The left is a hegemony brain, specifically Keltie species. The right is human. Notice the difference in connections? Harris and Johnson leaned closer. The human brain has far more cross-connections, Johnson noted. Exactly, Martinez said. But it's more than that. Watch what happens when I show the response to learning a new skill. The images shifted to show neural activity. The alien brain lit up in specific orderly sections. The human brain erupted in a chaotic flurry of connections across multiple regions. They learn linearly, Martinez explained. We learn exponentially. When humans face a problem, especially under pressure, our brains make connections that their species physically cannot. Is that why we've adapted to their technology so quickly? Harris asked. Martinez nodded. Most conquered species take decades to understand even basic hegemony tech. We're doing it in months, they've noticed too. I found classified reports on their network. They're concerned about how quickly we're advancing. Johnson pulled out a small device from his pocket. Like this? I finished it yesterday. Martinez examined it. Is that a modified hegemony communicator? Better, Johnson said with pride. It can intercept and decode their transmissions. Took their design and improved it. Harris smiled for the first time in weeks. This is what we've been waiting for. If we can listen to their communications, we can stay ahead of them. There's more, Martinez said. I think I know why the Celtari warned them about us. Humans have a unique ability. We can imagine abstract solutions that don't exist yet. Most species, including the hegemony, can only build on what they already know. So we're not just adapting to their technology, Harris said slowly. We might eventually improve it beyond what they can understand. Exactly, Martinez confirmed. And they have no idea. They think we're just another primitive species to exploit. Their planning was interrupted by a young woman who rushed into the room. You need to see this, she said, turning on a screen. Governor Drack's face filled the display. The tall, gray-skinned alien with ridge-like features stood before the United Nations building, now serving as the hegemony's Earth headquarters. People of Earth, Drack announced, for your continued safety and integration into the galactic hegemony, we are implementing new security protocols. All human access to space has been suspended. Additionally, certain technological devices must be surrendered for inspection. The screen showed images of hegemony soldiers going door to door, collecting computers and communications equipment. They know something's happening, Harris said quietly. Johnson nodded. We need to accelerate our plans. 2 days later, at the main hegemony landing pad, a group of human workers loaded supplies onto a shuttle under alien supervision. One of the workers, a young boy no more than 12 years old, dropped a crate. Careful, human child, the hegemony guard snapped. Sorry, sir, the boy said, picking up the crate. As he did, he stumbled against the shuttle's control panel. The guard yanked him away. Do not touch the equipment. Your species is not authorized to operate hegemony technology. I didn't mean to, the boy said, looking scared. Later, when the guards changed shifts, the boy returned to the shuttle alone. This time he moved with purpose. His fingers flew across the control panel, activating systems and bypassing security protocols. Within minutes, the shuttle's engines hummed to life. In her laboratory, Martinez was startled when Keltie burst in, looking agitated. Is something wrong? Martinez asked innocently. A human child just stole a shuttle, Keltie said. Impossible. The controls require hegemony genetic authorization. Martinez kept her face neutral, but her mind raced. The Resistance hadn't planned any shuttle theft, especially not by a child. In his office, Governor Drack received the report with increasing alarm. How did a human child operate systems that should be biologically locked to our species? Admiral Kazin, who had returned to Earth to check on its integration into the hegemony, frowned deeply. Find that child. And increase surveillance on all human scientific personnel. Something is not right here. As night fell, Harris watched from the Resistance headquarters as hegemony ships searched the city for the missing shuttle. The screens showing intercepted alien communications were filled with confused chatter. "They're scared," Johnson said with satisfaction. Harris nodded. "Good. But we need to move carefully. When animals are scared, they become dangerous." Martinez joined them, her face serious. "They've doubled the guards at all facilities, but I managed to download more of their technical databases before I left." "Will it be enough?" Harris asked. Martinez smiled. "More than enough. The trap is about to spring, and they still don't see it coming." The Hegemony Command Center buzzed with nervous activity. 3 years had passed since first contact, and what had begun as minor acts of human resistance had grown into a serious problem. Admiral Kazin stood before the main display, his face tight with anger. "Another supply depot raided? That's the 5th this month." Governor Drac nodded unhappily. "The humans are becoming more organized. They no longer just steal technology, they're using it against us." "Impossible," Kazin snapped. "Our weapons and systems are genetically locked to hegemony biology." "See for yourself," Drac said, activating a security recording. The screen showed 4 humans using what appeared to be modified hegemony weapons to disable a guard post. They moved with practiced efficiency, neutralizing the alien guards without killing them. "How are they doing this?" Kazin demanded. From the corner of the room, Science Officer Kelty spoke up. "Sir, I believe I understand what's happening." All eyes turned to her. Dr. Martinez was researching human neural patterns before she disappeared. "I've continued her work and made a disturbing discovery." Kelty activated her own display. "Humans don't just learn our technology, they reimagine it. Their brains form connections that allow them to adapt and improve systems in ways we never considered." "Are you suggesting these primitives could surpass our technology?" Kazin asked incredulously. "Not yet," Kelty said. "But given enough time." Kazin turned back to the main screen. "We don't have a problem with human ingenuity. We have a security problem. Someone is helping them." At that moment, a communication alert sounded. High Commander Gzell of the Hegemony Central Fleet appeared on screen. "Admiral Kazin, the High Council is concerned about delays in resource shipments from Earth. I have been dispatched with reinforcements to investigate." Kazin struggled to hide his alarm. If the Central Fleet discovered how much control he had already lost over Earth, his career would be finished. "Everything is under control, High Commander. A few minor disruptions only. Your assistance is unnecessary. Nevertheless, I will arrive within 2 days. Prepare for inspection." The communication ended abruptly. Kazin turned to his officers. "Find the resistance leaders. Use whatever means necessary. I want them captured before High Commander Gzell arrives." Miles away, in an underground facility built beneath an old subway station, William Harris watched as new recruits trained with modified hegemony weapons. Eric Johnson approached, wiping grease from his hands. "The new communicators are ready. Every resistance cell worldwide will have one by tomorrow." Harris nodded. "What about the shuttle engines?" 5 are operational. But Harris, we're still outnumbered and outgunned. Are you sure we should move? So soon? "We don't have a choice," Harris replied. "Our inside source says they're bringing in reinforcements. It's now or never." Dr. Martinez joined them, accompanied by a surprising figure, Science Officer Kelty. The alien looked nervous but determined. "The latest security protocols are in my report. They're planning a full sweep of all major cities." Harris had been skeptical when Martinez first brought Kelty to the Resistance 3 months ago, but the alien scientist had proven her loyalty. Repeatedly horrified by the hegemony's plans to strip Earth of resources and eventually use humans as expendable soldiers. "Thank you, Kelty," Harris said. "Any word on the High Commander's ship?" "It carries 3 times the firepower of any vessel currently in Earth orbit," Kelty said. "And Zell is not like Kazin. He will not hesitate to use overwhelming force." Martinez pulled up schematics on the main screen. "Then we stick to the plan. Multiple simultaneous strikes targeting their communication arrays first, then power systems." "What about the central control station?" Johnson asked. "That's my team," Harris said. Once the outer defenses are engaged with our decoy attacks, we go straight for Kazin. Kelty looked troubled. If you fail, they will retaliate against civilian populations. Then we won't fail, Harris said simply. The next day, as High Commander, Higsel's massive ship entered Earth orbit. Admiral Kazin ordered a planet-wide lockdown. No human is to be on the streets, he commanded. Any resistance will be met with lethal force. Hegemony troops moved through cities across the globe, weapons ready. The show of force was meant to impress Higel and intimidate humans. Instead, it created the perfect conditions for what came next. At precisely noon, GMT, power failed in every hegemony facility worldwide. Their backup systems activated immediately, but those too began to fail in cascading patterns. In the command center, Kazin roared with fury. What is happening? Some kind of virus in our systems, a technician reported. It's like nothing I've seen before. It's adapting to our countermeasures faster than we can implement them. Outside, the real attack began. Modified shuttles rose from hidden locations, targeting the orbital stations with weapons the hegemony had thought impossible for humans to operate. This is impossible, High Commander Zell said as he watched from his ship. These humans were barely space-capable 3 years ago. On the ground, Harris led a small team toward the central control station. They moved quickly through service tunnels that the hegemony had mapped but considered too small for concern. Remember, Harris told his team, non-lethal force where possible. We're not them. Inside the facility, they encountered less resistance than expected. Most guards had been deployed to handle the larger attacks across the city. When they reached the main control room, they found Kazin waiting with 4 guards. I knew you would come here, the Admiral said, his weapon aimed at Harris. You humans are predictable after all. Are we? Harris asked, making no move to raise his own weapon. Kazin smiled coldly. Your attacks are impressive but futile. Even now, High Commander Zell is preparing to bombard your resistance positions from orbit. I don't think so, Harris replied calmly. Check your communications. Frowning, Kazin touched his wrist device. His expression changed from confidence to shock. What have you done? We didn't just steal your technology, Harris explained. We improved it. Your ships no longer respond to your commands. They respond to ours. As if to prove his point, the lights in the control room changed color, and the screens showed hegemony ships powering down across Earth orbit. Impossible, Kazin whispered. Martinez stepped forward from behind Harris. You should have listened to the Seltari. Earth isn't a trap because we're dangerous predators or brilliant warriors. It's a trap because we adapt. We solve problems in ways you can't imagine. Kazin looked from Harris to Martinez, then to the screens showing his fleet going dark. For the first time in his long career, the Admiral felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Outside, across Earth, humans looked up to see hegemony ships floating powerless in the sky. The trap had been sprung, and the hunters had become the hunted. The great hall of the hegemony central station fell silent as Admiral Kazin was led in chains before the High Council. 1 year had passed since the humans had seized control of the hegemony fleet orbiting Earth, and now the former admiral faced judgment. High Council Speaker Dorn looked down from the raised platform, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of deep disapproval in his species. Admiral Voss Kazin, you stand accused of catastrophic failure in your handling of the Earth situation. Your actions have cost the hegemony 7 battle cruisers, 16 orbital stations, and control of an entire planetary system. Kazin kept his head high despite his shame. I underestimated the humans, we all did. You were warned, a voice called from the side of the chamber. All heads turned to see Ambassador Trell of the Seltari approaching. The ancient alien moved slowly but purposefully to the center of the floor. The Seltari warned you, Trell continued. Earth is a trap, we said. You chose not to listen. Speaker Dorn shifted uncomfortably. Ambassador, the Council acknowledges your warning was ignored, but perhaps now you can explain what you meant. How exactly is Earth a trap? Before Trell could answer, the chamber doors opened again. A group of humans entered, led by William, Harris and Dr. Olivia Martinez. They were dressed in uniforms that combined Earth styles with modified hegemony technology. Behind them walked Science Officer Kelty, now officially a representative of human interests. The council members murmured in surprise. Few had actually seen humans in person before. "The human delegation may approach," Speaker Dorn said, his voice betraying his curiosity. Harris stepped forward. "We come to negotiate terms of peace between Earth and the galactic hegemony." "Peace?" one council member scoffed. "You stole our ships and technology?" Martinez spoke up, her voice calm but firm. "We defended our planet against invasion. The hegemony came not as friends but as conquerors. We simply refused to be conquered." Speaker Dorn raised a hand for silence. "This council is still trying to understand how your species managed to overcome our superior technology so quickly." Ambassador Trell moved to stand beside the humans. "That is why Earth is a trap. The Seltari discovered humans thousands of years ago, when they were still developing basic tools. Even then we recognized their potential." "Potential for what?" Speaker Dorn asked. "For unprecedented adaptation," Trell explained. "Most intelligent species evolve along predictable paths. Humans do not. They make creative leaps that defy logical progression. They imagine solutions that have no precedent." The council chamber buzzed with whispers. Harris watched the alien faces, seeing confusion, disbelief, and in some cases, fear. Trell continued. "We chose to quarantine Earth not out of fear but out of wisdom. Humans needed time to mature morally before joining the galactic community. The hegemony's invasion forced their rapid advancement." Kazin, still in chains, looked up. "You knew what would happen if we went to Earth." "We suspected," Trell admitted, "but even we did not anticipate how quickly humans would master and improve upon your technology." Harris stepped forward again. "We don't want war with the hegemony. We want recognition as equals and the right to determine our own future." Speaker Dorn studied the humans carefully. "And if we refuse?" Martinez nodded to Kelty, who activated a small device. A holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing a ship unlike any the council had seen before. A seamless blend of human design principles and advanced hegemony technology. "This vessel is the first of Earth's new fleet," Martinez explained. "It incorporates improvements on your faster-than-light drives that increase efficiency by 60%. Our weapon systems have similar enhancements." The council was visibly shocked. Such rapid technological advancement should have been impossible. "How?" one council member demanded. "How did you achieve this in just 1 year?" Martinez smiled slightly. "Humans evolved on a planet with rapidly changing conditions, facing countless threats to our survival. We don't just learn, we innovate, especially under pressure." Harris added, "Your invasion was the greatest pressure our species has ever faced. You forced us to adapt at an unprecedented rate." Speaker Dorn conferred quietly with the other council members before addressing the humans again. "The hegemony acknowledges Earth as a sovereign power. We will withdraw all remaining forces from your system immediately." "Thank you," Harris said, "but we propose something more. A true alliance based on mutual respect. We have much to offer each other." The negotiations continued for hours. By the end, a historic agreement had been reached. Earth would share its innovative approaches to technology, while the hegemony would open its vast knowledge bases to human scientists. As the human delegation prepared to return to their ship, Ambassador Trell approached Harris privately. "You have achieved in 1 year what most species take centuries to accomplish," the Seltari said. "But this is only the beginning." Harris looked at the ancient alien curiously. "What do you mean?" Trell's 3 eyes focused intently on Harris. "You were never the trap. You were the trigger. What comes next has been awaited for millennia." "I don't understand," Harris admitted. "The galaxy has grown stagnant," Trell explained. "Progress has slowed to a crawl. Species like the hegemony conquer rather than innovate. Humans think differently. Your minds make connections that other species cannot. You will change everything." Martinez joined them, having overheard the conversation. "Is that why you quarantined Earth? You were protecting us until we were ready?" "Protecting you, yes," Trell said, but also preparing the galaxy for you. Change is difficult, especially for ancient civilizations. Not all will welcome your arrival as I do. You've been watching us all along, Harris realized. Trell nodded. The Seltari believe that evolution has a purpose. You humans are the next step. Not physically, but mentally. How you think is unique in the galaxy. As Harris and Martinez boarded their ship to return to Earth, they looked back at the massive hegemony station. What had begun as an invasion had become first contact of a very different kind. In his cell, awaiting final judgment, Admiral Kazin stared at the wall. He understood now what Trell had meant. Earth wasn't a trap because humans were dangerous warriors or clever diplomats. It was a trap because once you engaged with humans, the rules of the game changed forever, and somewhere in the vast reaches of space, other species were watching with great interest as humanity took its first steps onto the galactic stage, bringing with them something the older races had long forgotten: the ability to imagine what had never been before.